50 yards. Water all around it. No bridge. No public path. An island on the oval lake at Althorp Estate in Northamptonshire, guarded by centuries of silence, mature trees, and a family determined to keep the world away. That was the design. That was the promise made in the autumn of 1997. A sanctuary for Diana. Then came a Thursday. Not a whisper. Not a warning to the royal correspondence. Just a sudden, meticulously timed 11-image gallery dropped directly into the digital slipstream. And there they were, the grandchildren who never knew her, standing at the edge of the water, small hands holding flowers. A moment meant to be private, sacred, untouched by the commercial machine, plastered across screens worldwide. Let's look at the timing. Never random, never an accident. It landed right on the exact week of Prince George's high-profile birthday, a calculated collision of narratives designed to hijack the news cycle. Image control dressed as tradition. For years, the narrative around Diana's resting place has been clear-cut. It belongs to the Spencer family. Charles Spencer, the 9th Earl Spencer, holds the keys, guards the gates, and protects the perimeter. He is the custodian of the myth and the keeper of the memory. No cameras allowed. No commercial exploitation permitted. The press stays outside the park walls. Except when they don't. Because when the Sussexes released those photos, the immediate shockwave wasn't just about sentimentality. It was about access. How did a camera make it onto an island where even long-lens photographers are legally blocked from treading? Who authorized the lens? Who gave a green light? Let's rewind for a second. Althorp isn't a public park you can wander into on a Tuesday afternoon. It's a private estate with a security apparatus tighter than a royal residence. Charles Spencer has historically been fiercely protective of his sister's memory, clashing with anyone, from media conglomerates to royal handlers, who tries to monetize the grief. So when images from inside the inner sanctum pop up on a public social feed, the ground shifts beneath everyone's feet. Let's look at the logistics. To get to that island, you need a boat. There is no bridge by design. Earl Spencer explicitly had it removed decades ago to stop ghouls, tourists, and tabloid poachers from treating a grave like a tourist attraction. So who rowed them across? Who held the device? The palace PR machine didn't see it coming. Fleet Street didn't see it coming. Even the most seasoned royal insiders were caught flat-footed. And that is where the machinery of modern celebrity collides with old-world aristocracy. Let me be fair for a second. Families visit graves. People grieve in their own way. If a parent wants to introduce their children to a grandmother they lost to history, nobody can police that emotional impulse. Or can they? Because when you take a deeply personal, closed-door pilgrimage and package it into an 11-slide digital carousel for global consumption, it stops being a private family moment. It becomes a broadcast, and that broadcast sent a tremor straight through the heart of the British establishment. Think about the optics from across the Atlantic versus inside the UK. In California, it's a touching tribute, a bridge across generations, a reclamation of family history on their own terms. In London, in the corridors of Kensington Palace, it was interpreted very differently. To the firm, and arguably to the Spencer estate itself, it looked less like a quiet memorial and more like a boundary breach wrapped in sentiment. Royal biographers started fielding frantic calls within minutes of the drop. Entertainment journalists immediately began mapping out the collateral damage. Prince William, fiercely protective of his mother's legacy and fiercely private about his own children, was reportedly left seething, not just because of the intrusion, but because of the venue. Diana's grave has always been the one line that was never, ever crossed. Until now. Follow the money. Follow the narrative control. That is always where the real story lives. When you look at the architecture of a modern celebrity brand, nothing is spontaneous. The post wasn't dropped on a whim during a quiet Sunday afternoon. It was deployed strategically to cut through the noise, to reset the chessboard, and to stake a claim on a legacy that multiple factions are fighting to control. Think about the players involved here. On one side, you have the Sussex operation, lean, digitally native, unbound by royal protocol, and entirely dependent on high-impact visual storytelling to maintain global relevance. On the other side, you have the Spencer estate. Charles Spencer has spent decades curating his role as the aggrieved brother, the moral compass of the family, the man who stood in Westminster Abbey and delivered that blistering, establishment-shaking eulogy in 1997. Does Charles Spencer share control over his sister's memory, or is he fiercely possessive of it? History tells us it's the latter. So when photos emerge from the most secure, restricted corner of Althorp, photos that require active participation or at least tacit permission from someone holding the keys, the silence from the Spencer camp isn't just notable. It's deafening. Did Charles Spencer know? Did he approve it? Or was he blindsided just like the rest of the British establishment? If he approved it, it represents a massive fracture in the united front of the British aristocracy. It means an Earl of the Realm chose to bypass Windsor, bypass the protocol, and hand the keys of the kingdom's most sensitive emotional shrine directly to the family's most controversial exiles. If he didn't approve it, that's worse. That means unauthorized access occurred on private aristocratic grounds, raising serious questions about estate security, trust, and boundaries. Let's look at the quotes coming out of the inner circles. Anonymous courtiers are calling it grief choreography. Entertainment analysts are calling it masterclass counter-programming. No one is calling it a coincidence. Let's examine the mechanics of how these narratives are built. You don't just walk up to Diana's island with an iPhone and snap away. You need clearance. You need logistics. You need a gatekeeper to unlock the boathouse. Yet, the narrative pushed by supporters was one of quiet, unassuming domesticity. Just a family paying their respects. Just gone. Bye-bye. Except nothing is ever just gone when it's uploaded to the internet for millions of ravenous followers to dissect, argue over, and weaponize. The tabloids went into a frenzy. The daily check-ins turned into hourly updates. Comment sections erupted into miniature civil wars between Sussex defenders who saw it as a beautiful reclamation of heritage and royal traditionalists who viewed it as a desecration of a sacred boundary. And right in the middle of it all sits the ghost of Diana, still doing the heavy lifting for every single person tied to her name, nearly 3 decades after her death. Every faction wants a piece of the icon. Every faction claims to be the true protector of her legacy. The palace claims it through institutional continuity. William claims it through bloodline and protectiveness. Harry claims it through shared trauma and direct lineage. And the public? We consume it all, playing judge, jury, and executioner in the comments. Let's pull the threads together. What are we actually looking at here? This isn't just a story about a visit to a grave. It's a masterclass in modern warfare fought with pixels, PR, and prestige. When you strip away the floral arrangements and the soft focus filters, you see a calculated power play. The Sussex brand needed a narrative reset, a reminder of their royal roots that didn't rely on Buckingham Palace's blessing. What better way to do that than by going straight to the source, literally bypassing the king, bypassing the Prince of Wales, and going directly to Diana's bloodline at Althorp? It's an end run around the entire institution, and that is why the fallout has been so violent behind closed doors. It proved that the Sussexes don't need a royal balcony to claim royal geography. They can appropriate the ultimate symbol of royal tragedy, the isolated island grave, and turn it into their own personal PR asset. Whether Charles Spencer gave his blessing or is currently drafting a furious statement behind closed doors matters less than the immediate effect. The boundary has been breached. The unwritten rule that Diana's resting place is off-limits to the public relations machine has officially been shattered. What happens next? The Sussex machinery is not slowing down. Every move they make is designed to keep the spotlight burning, forcing the institution to react rather than lead. And the establishment, rigid and bound by traditional protocol, continues to stumble in its response, caught between a desire to protect the brand and the fear of looking vindictive. Expect more of this. More boundary-pushing archival reveals. More tactical deployments of family history designed to keep the global audience hooked, outraged, and clicking. Fame at this level is never just a headline. It's a moment in time. Now, let's turn it over to you. Did Charles Spencer secretly approve this visit to strike a blow against the Windsor establishment? Or did Harry and Meghan cross a sacred, unforgivable line of privacy? Drop your take or verdict in the comments. I read every one. A like genuinely helps more than you'd think. And subscribe if you want deeper coverage on the real power struggles behind the royal curtain. This won't be the last one. Trust me. Fame at this level is never just a headline. It's a moment in time.